Good evening and happy Eclipse Day, everybody. It's Monday, April 8th, 2024, here at PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. And we'll start here, as we usually do, with the automated trading systems. The Dow futures have been in this sideways uh, mess for a little bit. It's really sideways to down, ready for it to do another one of these and take off and go up there like that. But you gotta wait around for it, and that's part of the game. Is just the patience. We had a few trades today. Some bulls, some bears, or I should say, some winners and losers. And yeah, okay. So the Russell today actually started to perk up some. It looks like we had one trade. It was a winner, so that's good. Here we've had a nice little run of winners here lately on the Russell. It's brought this back from the same kind of depths as we literally this type of thing. So if you look here, this is what we have to look forward to. And this one's one that's really irritating. Same kind of thing. We just need to wait for it to come back out. This is the NASDAQ futures, and we have had a sort of the same kind of thing as the Russell, except it's the opposite. We've had a run of losers, except for one nice one there in the middle. We need to get a run of those, and that'll get us back out of this. So, um, it's annoying, but it's again just kind of that's why they're automated trading systems. You don't do anything about it. Just sit on your hands, and the math is what it is. The You didn't get this nice upward sloping uptrend without the. I mean, this is the same math. So, this pullback here, this one's just deeper than that one. So, as aggravating as that is. All right, let's go to the the manual trading systems, and we'll just look at here at the general markets. So this is the S&P 500, and we're looking at the futures contract. And I redrew these channels tonight because you can connect these pretty well now. And that's just been an upward sloping channel, and you can see it's respecting the bottom channel. Now the question is going to be, when are we going to roll over? And I'm also making sure to talk about our trailing SAR, the stop and reverse parabolic SAR. The yellow one is the daily, and the red one is the weekly. The yellow turns into magenta, and the weekly actually just stays red, so I can see it. And let me throw out something here. It's actually a good example. BL is a new position today for us, where we have magenta daily dots. We have a nice bullish buy signal here, and we've actually had a couple. We've had this pullback area. We've had this is a break of structure to the upside and a retest of these lows on the hourly over here. And we get this nice shot back up here, which is against the parabolic SAR dots for the day. But you can see the structure is actually, we have a impulse wave coming up. We've had this corrective period. We've had another impulse wave. Technically, we're in another corrective period here, but I think we're going to hit these highs again. And in order to do that, or to get there, you've got to participate. And so I'm in against this parabolic SAR dots for the daily. However, you can see the weekly ones are nice and prominent here, and not very far away from really where we would be for any previous stop that we would use. And so buying into this, I don't use the weekly dots of this week, which are it's 60, 67 shown there. I use the ones previous because this week's dots aren't really real yet until Friday, because it's just marking out the dots for the week, and the week's bar, if we go over to the weekly chart, it doesn't really play out until it's not over with till Friday. That's that same 60, 67. So I hope that makes sense. It'd be, it's, I don't want to say it's best if you have both of them in alignment. Obviously that works. It's really nice. They're both in alignment for that whole move. But, this is an example of a time when they're not both in alignment, and I go ahead and use the weekly dots. It's also not to say that it won't break down and not work. It's, these trades they are what they are. That's why they're a defined risk. So let's go back to the ES here. I say that to kind of give you an idea that we're in a pinch point here between the weekly SAR dots to the lower side, which I think are more prominent because they're longer term, and the daily dots to the upside. And if you've been watching our analysis, it's my belief that this market is being held up by the bullish percent index, and especially the larger one, and therefore it just makes sense that the weekly dots are going to prevail here until we hit Dow 40,000. And let's look at the Dow since we're here. It's 38,890. It's actually pulled back 11 points today. We have broken through the weekly dots here, so I might need to take all that back. And what it really boils down to is how much churn are we going to get in this zone, and how much pullback. So we are bearish on both on the Dow now. It's probably not good in the short run. I still think eventually we're going to hit that 40,000, and I do think it's I'm not going to prognosticate that too much. It's going to happen this year is my guess, but it is an election year. There's going to be a lot of other things, especially with interest rates that they keep talking about. So there's all kinds of catalysts for both directions in the markets, and that's part of the reason why we play the trades the way we do in both directions. All right. So the Russell today, as soon as I find it over here, went up 10 points, or 0.5%. Looks like this. We looked at the Dow, we looked at the S&P 500. Let's look at the actual S&P 500. Doesn't look much different than the futures do, and it shouldn't. The NASDAQ went up 5 points. There's a lot of moving around today. Volatility, as it were. And that's really interesting that the SAR dots are so tight now. What's that doing overnight? It looks pretty much the same. And the transports are still in this really large sideways pattern that's ultimately bullish. It sold off quite a bit at the end of the day. bonds are selling off again. Gold went down 0.24% today. Look how well that's respecting those SAR dots. That's pretty good. And oil overnight, it's not really much different. Gold, GLD. It's really done the same kind of a thing. The commodities have really taken off lately. And I'm keeping my eye on natural gas. Not that there's only a counter trend play to, in my opinion, to make here. But I am considering making it at some point. And again, it's only because I can do a defined risk play. When that takes that parabolic SAR dot out to the upside and flips it to the downside, then I've got a clear defined stop. And then I can actually trade into it with a trigger off of the hourly chart if I decide to do that. But you're really playing against the long-term downtrend when you're doing that. And sometimes those will work and they'll rebound. This is a nice trade, but you got to realize that you're going against the trend. Anyway, the only reason I'm doing it is because it's natural gas. It's really pushed down, and the commodities have been so strong lately. And I think this one's been different than the other ones. So when the other ones reverse, which they look like they're ready to, this one might reverse in the opposite direction and give us an opportunity. So I don't want to talk about that too much because it's not that big a deal. It's just a play. All right. Let's go to the VIX. That was a mess. And it screwed me up for the picture there. So much for the VIX. We'll look at these intraday movements, and you can see we've had this big up move the other day. These are the advanced decline lines of the different indexes with just watching the ticks. But you can see we had some more buying than selling here, which was what happened there. And then here you can see the ticks actually came down, just like the advanced decline line did. And now we're in this sort of limbo area. That kind of a gap gets filled, and then you can see what happens. So I think it's interesting to watch it. I don't really do much with it during the day, but I can kind of analyze, if we get a nice gap out of the gate, you can kind of get a feel for, is it going to run away or is it going to fill the gap? And last but not least, we'll go to the internet. This is not our website, True Market Insiders. It's a really good website, and this is the longer term New York NYSE bullish percent index, and you can see it went up 0.33 again, or went up again today. This thing's got to get to 54 to close in that next box, and that would put in a point and figure buy signal on this bullish percent index. And I think this is what's been propping up this market. And we are, what is that, 0.74, so 74 hundredths of a point away from it happening. Again, this takes a 3-box reversal or 6% to turn into a column of O's. So the markets can move around quite a bit without this thing actually moving back to a column of O's. And stockcharts.com, these are the bullish percent indexes that move faster. That other chart that said that they move once it flips to a new column, which it hasn't done since November, it stays in that column for weeks to months is the duration. This is more like days to weeks. So our bullish percent index for the industrials didn't move today. It's in a column of O's and a point and figure sell signal. The NYA went up 0.52%, and it's in a point and figure buy signal. It's not in a point and figure buy signal, it's in a point and figure sell signal. It happens to just be the series of X's across the top. All this needs to do is go and put in a higher X, and it would be in a point and figure buy signal. So I stand corrected there. The transportation index in a column of O's didn't move today. The NASDAQ in a column of O's and went up by 0.82% today. The S&P 500 up by 1.2% today in a column of O's. The S&P 100 didn't move, and the NASDAQ 100 up 4.44% off of what appears to be support. We're at the same level as this last column of O's, and we're also at this longer term support level, this blue line. So not to be too bullish, but the chink in the armor would be that especially the Dow, where we saw that it's broken the SAR dots in both time frames to the lower side. So we could see some volatility through that, and I guess I should expect to. So that's what we got. Till next time, have a great evening and good luck trading.